What is up, guys? We are live on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. We are connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. And if Lucci and I, and of course Raki, Babi can all be friends today after that horrific fucking refereeing display on Saturday, I think there's hope for peace all over the world if the three of us can get along. And of course, Jerry Mancini, I'm sure very bummed about the 2-0 loss in the Rome derby, Lazio falling to Roma. Jerry, I hope we can bring some sort of cheer into your life today when we just shoot the breeze and talk a little calcio. And honestly, I thought Lazio had a lot of really good chances in that game. Immobile, SMS had one that he tried to get fancy and chip over the keeper when he should have just put it straight on target. And dude, your guy Acerbi got freaking owned by Dzeko on that first goal before that assist. You all right, Jerry? I'm not on your behalf. I feel terrible.
What fucking game have you watched? Serie A sit down yesterday, Richard. There were a lot of chances for Lazio. I fucking did one with Scott Moreau. There were a lot of chances in the first half for Lazio.
I saw chances.
Bro,
Am I wrong?
Fucking chances are you? No, every chance we had was an offside play, man. That Immobile play that he gets stopped on, it's offside. It created a corner kick. That's all it was. I don't know any other chances but Luis Alberto, who had a good chance in the first half. That was another
one. I forgot to mention that one.
Luis Alberto in the first half. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic should have scored 100%. I don't know why he's doing that chip pass, that chip fucking shot. And that's it. Those are two chances I remember that Lazio had in this whole game. Where are the other chances that they came close to scoring in the whole game? That second half was non-existent. It was disgusting. I don't understand. It's not even this game that pisses me off. It's the last three that have pissed me off because we played so good against Genoa, so good against Milan, and so shit against fucking scrubs. It blows my fucking mind. That's what I'm pissed off about. The mentality of it's so bad. The character was so bad against Fiorentina. Inzaghi got it wrong 2 out of 3 games. Your boy Vedat Mariki fucking stinks.
Hey, respect him, fam.
Reeks.
It's that offside rule. Don't bother him. He netted.
Offside rule. The guy can't even run. Never mind offside rule.
Jerry, listen to me, man. Talk to me about Acerbi getting spun by Dzeko, getting humiliated.
Sure, he's on a yellow card. He's on a yellow card. He can
see whatever card he wants, but my point is Radu just sitting there ball watching and getting bullied. That defense at Lazio is not it, my man. You can blame Murici all you want. Murici's at the end of the day, he's a squad player. All right. What we need to talk about is Lazio's defending. It's Simone Inzaghi being a bit of a, he's a bit of a fraud.
One goal in 17 games does not cut $18.5 million. Okay, you're
still learning a new league, Jerry. There's an adjustment period.
Fuck, I don't give a shit, man. No. There is adjustment, and then there's progression. Yeah, Lazio Merda. You should just put Mariki Merda. Never mind.
Bro, but it doesn't make any sense. You're targeting this man that's a system. He's just a random dude that was brought in for squad depth. He wasn't meant to be your Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not some sort of 50 million plus signing.
Oh man,
defense has holes. It's so glaring and obvious. If Lazio got a good partner for Acerbi, they'd be a different team. But that center back trio is not it. You're playing Radu in big 2021, bro, as a center back. What is going on at Lazio? Marusic is getting games at center back. What's happening, bro? Talk to me about that. Don't talk to me about Murici. Murici was a 20 million signing, brought to, maybe shithouse a game here and there. He wasn't brought to change your season. Next year, he'll change your season, though.
Next year, he'll be gone. He'll be gone. I would be shocked.
Hold on. Okay, maybe they loan him out because they can't sell him. I mean, if they sell him, it's at a loss. They're not going to be able to sell him for $20 million right now. They're not going to make any money.
You're stuck with us, Jerry. You gotta respect them. You gotta cheer for them.
By the way, I want to introduce everybody because a lot of people listen audio only. So those who are watching us on YouTube, of course, you can see all the beautiful faces and Jerry, and you can see all the names written down. So let me go through. You've already heard this man's voice quite a bit, and he's wearing a beautiful interkit. Raki Babi is with us, and we wanted to bring him for a full episode because he joined us really late in a recent episode. And even though he was with us for 15 minutes, he was spitting all this fire, so we had to bring him back. Raki, how you doing, sir?
Good. Glad to be out here running it back. No duties to my mother today. I'm just here for the Calcio podcast, so I'm ready. I'm here, locked in.
We got Daniel Lucci on, of course, our good friend, and I'm sure, given that there's two Interisti, two Juventini, and then Jerry, who's an honorary Interista, we're gonna have some discussions about what happened in that game on Saturday. Lucci, welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me, guys. A pleasure as always. And Jerry's a little upset, but we'll cheer him up. No problem.
And so happy to bring Nick back on as well from the Calcio guys. Your beautiful face and that beautiful bald head matching my own shirt. Welcome back to you. How you been?
I'm not too bad. Thanks for having me on. You guys didn't tell me Lucci was coming on, and he was going to be the better Juventino in this group.
We wanted to make sure you showed up. I thought if we told you Lucci was in, you might want to sit this one out. Guys, God, there's so much to get into from that Derby d'Italia, and it's obviously, I'm sure Raki shares some of this sentiment. It was a weird one from an Inter point of view, because that game was strictly from that side. It was only played for pride. It was only played for Conte to flex against Juve and send a message. And maybe in the back of the minds of a lot of Interista, the possibility of sending Juventus out of Champions League position was a big one as well. But, at the end of the day, it didn't affect Inter whatsoever. That match only affected Juventus. And it really, a matchup of, two of the most historic clubs in Italy really turned into a referee with amazing hair just making it all about himself. I mean, this fucking Giampaolo Calvarese, guys, it was an absolute horror show from start to finish. I mean, Nick, he was handing out yellow cards like it was Halloween candy. He ended up having, two players sent off, 3 penalty kicks. I thought two of them were very soft. One of them was completely non-existent. So really from start to finish, and obviously, listen, I can say it as much as I want to from an Inter standpoint, that maybe if I'm doing the math on all the calls made, I could maybe say, I think it affected my team more than the other team. But at the end of the day, that was such a shit refereeing performance that it's hard to even say how that game would have played out if Calvarese didn't get it completely wrong from start to finish, because so much of the air was taken out of that match. Like, I can't even say with any confidence what the score would have been or should have been had they had a competent referee. And Nick, I'll start with you. And obviously, your team comes away with a very, very important 3 points after a result of all that madness. And even though I didn't think the penalty that Cuadrado took should have happened in the first place, he did bury it. He did score a brace. He was the man of the match in that game. How are you feeling coming out of that whole fiasco?
Well, like I told you, Alex, in our group chat, it was just an embarrassing game. Straight up, embarrassing game for the Serie A. You got, your 2 last champions. I wouldn't say, maybe you wouldn't say the 2 best teams in Italy, but the two last champions, 2 biggest clubs in Italy. A lot of fans are going to be watching worldwide, and you had that. I think with Calvarese, the first penalty on Juve, maybe it was a bit soft, but we have seen that called this season before. You could argue for it, yep. But then after that, I felt like it was almost like a game of makeup calls. Like maybe it was soft, and then there was the makeup call on Lautaro, and then there's the yellow card on Bentancur, and then there's this makeup call, that makeup call. I felt like it was just a game of makeup calls, and you know what? I felt like Calvarese, he didn't have control of the game. I think it was Irati on VAR. I felt like it was basically Irati on VAR calling the shots, because it was that's all he did, right? Calvarese was just look at VAR, look at the video. All he did was rely on that, and that's not what you want. I said it on our podcast last week. Maybe I kind of jinxed it, because I said I found this year the Serie A refs were doing a good job of using VAR as a secondary tool and not relying on it. A couple of days later, exactly what happens, they rely on it. In terms of like the actual like game out there, I mean, there was only one goal that was scored that wasn't an argument, and that was Cuadrado's goal. And I know Daniel Lucci was definitely cheering a lot for that one.
Cuadrado fan club president right there.
And there you go. But yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely deserved a better game. one where the referee would have intervened a lot less.
Well, Lucci, your take on the whole way that it played out, and obviously, I'm sure that there's a feeling of gratitude for you guys to get the 3 points, and now it's like you've got 2 Champions League spots for 3 teams, and you have to kind of wonder who wants it the least. Maybe that's Milan because they had an opportunity to clinch it on Sunday. They didn't do it, but I don't want to get off topic on that. How did you feel, Lucci, about the Derby d'Italia?
Yeah, I think Nick hit it right on the head. It was a game that the referee took over. He made it his own instead of letting the teams kind of take it and deal with it. You're all for, the teams battling it out. You understand it's a big game. There's going to be some tough fouls, this and that, but he didn't allow anything to everything was a card. Everything was a foul. Everything was a penalty. And then, eventually there's 2 red cards towards, in the second half. And, luckily, it didn't hurt Juve too much, and it didn't really matter to Inter at that point either. But that watching that third penalty, that's tough, man. And how he didn't use VAR in that situation.
Yeah, that was the one time. I mean, because like Nick said, they were overusing VAR, and then Cagliari just decided on the Quadrado call. You know what? Now I'm not even going to bother.
See, that's the thing. Where's the line of getting comfortable and using it properly? There's just, you used it for everything else, but not that one call. I don't know. It seems weird, but like you said, Alex, we'll take the 3 points and hopefully take another 3 this upcoming weekend. We'll see how that goes, but not getting my hopes up just yet.
I got to get the Inter perspective from Raki Babi. Now, one thing that I was very annoyed by was we got robbed of what could have been one of the goals of the season from Lautaro Martinez when he pulled off that, I don't know, it was an overhead kick or a scissor kick, whatever it was. And then they called a foul on Lukaku on that play on Chiellini, which was non-existent. I mean, that was one of 100 terrible calls that Cagliari made. I mean, Raki, like I said, obviously for Inter, win, lose, draw, it didn't really matter at the end of the day because the Scudetto was secured. But that's a game where fans of both clubs and really fans all over the world deserve to see a clean refereed game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the big issue for me was a lot of Interisti were saying, this game doesn't matter, it's for pride, etc. For me, sinking Juventus into the Europa League, the financial damage that does, and even the squad damage it could do, I don't think Ronaldo stays to play Europa League. I don't think CR7 would stay and play Europa League for Juventus. I just don't see him as that type of player. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe not. But it would have done long-term damage to Juventus seeing them get signed. And now we had to rely on Milan, who couldn't even beat Cagliari, and they were in a they didn't even have anything to play for. So it just the ramifications of that in that regard. And then also the fact that Conte made this big deal about, that winning mentality that we're trying to instill. Winning has to be a drug. So I think mentality-wise, if we sunk Juventus to the Europa League, it would just be huge for next season and to kind of usher in our dynasty and our era of greatness that Juventus just had to kind of match that. So I was actually a little bit mad, and I was annoyed when Inter were saying, it doesn't matter. To me, it mattered a lot, right? Yeah. And that being said, though, like I was saying in the group chat, I was like, I don't think that Serie A wants Juventus in the Europa League. I'm not trying to be cynical, but I just think, I think a lot of calls were going to go their way. I think that it was a poorly refereed game, but at the end of the day, I think the calls hurt Inter a lot more than they hurt Juventus. And I think that Chiellini played an amazing game, just tactically. Yeah. He knew exactly how to get those dark arts flowing. It's the type of player that you wish was on your team, like the Materazzi-esque, just shithouse things. So in that regard, I was jealous of Juventus. That's beautiful to have Chiellini doing that. So it's a lot of mixed feelings for me. But I did feel hard done by it. I felt that maybe, I could chalk it up to the refereeing being poor. I'm not going to, sit here like there's some giant conspiracy. I'm just saying, I could see why Serie A wants Juventus in the Champions League. It makes sense. Money-wise, it 100% makes sense. The calls were horrific, and they don't balance out. It made it almost look like, here, let's give Inter a few calls, but give Juventus, the bigger calls that are really game-changing. Quadrado, legacy game, bro. That's immaculate. The way that he played, Perisic was chirping on him before the match, put a little Instagram post with Quadrado on the ground, Perisic pointing at him. Quadrado went in, scored that insane shot, and then stole Perisic's little L celebration. That was a little minor plot line that was going on. I don't know if anybody noticed that. Perisic, Quadrado, that was insane. And then Perisic giving that penalty, which, again, poor call in my opinion. But Quadrado, very, very beautiful game. Can't say enough about him, especially this season. He's been an amazing player. So, you got to give respect at the end of the day. Wish we had some of those calls going our way. We had a few, but not the major ones. And I gotta respect the game a little bit. If Beppe Morato's making some calls, giving us those, dark arts, little shady calls, I'd be happy. I'd be flexing. I'd be saying too bad, like cry about it, So I'm not mad at Juventini flexing either. And that game meant a lot for them. They want to be in the Champions League. I get it.
Something else. Oh, go, Nick. You wanted to chime in?
I was gonna say, would you really say that the Serie A wants Juve to play in the Champions League? They barely want Juve and Inter to play in their own league next season. I don't know if you guys saw. I think I read today the FIGC came out with a new law that says if any teams take part in non-sanctioned tournaments, they get banned from the Serie A. All that, so they don't want us next year.
That wasn't gonna happen. Like with 3 teams, I don't know what those guys. I don't even know what Juventus is. Who's it? Juventus, Real Madrid, and Barca. I think they're the last 3 in there.
Yeah, they're the last.
I don't know what the hell they're trying to get out of it. Like, what are you gonna do? A 3-game round robin? Like, what the hell's going on there? Just pull out, take the L. I thought it was a lot better plan, but nothing's happening to get out.
Hey, Rocky, I had a follow up for you, and I wanted to ask Jerry the same question. So, out of the first 2 goals given up, how much, if at all, do you put those on Handanovic? Because I thought Honda really should have done better because he stopped the penalty, but he's done it twice this year where he puts it right back in front of him in the 6-yard box. It happened against Ibra in the first Milan derby. He does it again against Ronaldo. So I thought Handanovic could have done a lot better on the first goal. And then I'll admit when and we actually did Jerry and I, along with Joe Cappuccino and Black Johnny joined us a little bit later on. We actually did a live stream during the match, so we were watching and commenting on it like during the game. And I'll admit when I was watching it like live in the moment, I didn't put the second goal on Handanovic because of the deflection, because it did go off of Eriksen's heel. Off what was a really, really high velocity shot from Cuadrado, but it did deflect off Eriksen's heel. So upon seeing that, I didn't blame that at all on Handanovic. But then I got to tell you, man, I don't know. I was watching like the super slow motion Zapruder film replay today, and like it was right in front of him. Like I get how the deflection's going to throw you out. And yeah, you're right. And his arms were like, they were right like over his face, like in a weird angle. So upon further review, I thought Honda could have done a lot better on the second goal as well. So, I mean, how do you feel about that? And then and even on the Cuadrado penalty, he didn't dive. Like, he's just standing there. So, like, I'm not saying he would have saved it, but at least pick a side. How did you feel about that performance?
Oh, one of the worst performances from him this season. He's had a lot of bad performances, but at the end of the day, like, you're playing against Juventus, you really have to rise to the occasion. Just watching Alisson Becker fucking score a header for Liverpool, rising to the occasion, and Handanovic ducking under a ball coming towards him, that just put it into perspective for me. Like, the dude's washed, in my opinion. I've never been his biggest fan, so I'm going to be honest about that. I'm not like Siavush Falafel like level biased against him. So, like, I'm not his biggest fan. So I'm going to say that, but. I think it was really poor from him, and I think we definitely need a replacement for next year. You can't be ducking under shots. It's bad. It's a bad look.
Jerry, I want to get your take on the game as a whole, but if you want to start on Handanovic, like, dude, how much, if at all, did you put him to blame on some of those goals?
I don't blame him. No, I don't at all. The first 2 goals are not his fault. Like, he did what he could. He made the initial save for the penalty. It's it. It's unfortunate that it bounces out, but he doesn't make the save. People are going to say, oh, he couldn't make the save on the penalty. He makes the save. He's still at fault. That makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. He did what he had to prevent Ronaldo from scoring. Ronaldo was quick to react and got the rebound on it. That's all that it is. It's just a little luck for Ronaldo that it just bounces out right at him. I don't see what more Handanovic can do.
It was a terrible penalty, though. Realistically,
it was awful.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Like you got it. Like, I'm just saying, like, when you're in that spot saving penalties, you've got. And I know it's quick, spur of the moment, but you have to freaking parry it out wide. You have to angle it because he's done it multiple times where he puts it right in front of the shooter.
I don't know. He didn't really hit it with like that much force in it. Like, it kind of just slowly kind of went off Handanovic right back into the middle. I feel like he could have probably, like, with all of his experience, he probably should have done better. I'm not a goalkeeper. I don't really know, but I feel like he probably should have done better on the PK anyways. Maybe the second one, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He couldn't see it. He reacted late, whatever. But yeah.
It just looked strange. Like he saved it and then somehow kicked it with his leg right at Ronaldo. I was making a joke. I'm like, it looks like these two just made a fucking deal. Like, let's both stat pad. I'll get a PK save. You'll get a actual in-play goal, not a PK goal. It looks so stupid. I was like, what the hell am I watching? Really,
I don't judge. I don't judge goalkeepers normally on penalties because it's 50-50 crapshoot, man. You don't know how Ronaldo's going to shoot. You don't know what to react. You don't know what's going to happen. Everything happens so sudden with penalties. It's always a crapshoot. Like, how many times does Immobile miss a penalty this year, and people are like, "Oh my God, what happened to Immobile? He can't convert anymore. He's a terrible penalty taker." It's luck, man. Either the goalie.
You should watch some Lukaku clips, bro.
It's either you go the right way, you don't. You make the right jump, you don't. It's all luck with penalties, in my opinion, though. Like, most of the time, you're hoping that you guess the right way, you guess the right instinct of what the player is doing, and that's it. Like, yeah, could he have pushed the ball out maybe in a better direction? Yeah, probably. But you also got to remember, this guy's 37 years old, 36, and can't even fucking walk anymore. So that's another issue. So I don't know. The second goal is not his fault either. Guy freaking didn't even see the ball coming. It took a redirection. What's he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like,
I'll say, and go ahead and Jerry, your take, because we went around on the calls and everything. I mean, how did you just think about the whole flow and the way the game was officiated?
that's fucking shit.
I
I don't know what to say, man. It's all freaking like, well, that last call. You know what? It's very frustrating because I hate how people. I saw a tweet from Marco Messina, and I'll call it. I don't even give a shit if I say his name. That chooch from IFTV, and fucking Donkey says, "Oh, well, Bentancur got a yellow on the second call, and
which wasn't really a yellow."
Hold on, though. That's fine.
I agree.
That's fine, but here's the difference, and Perisic overrides that. Here's the difference, though. That's a very decisive factor in the game. The call on Perisic. You go to VAR twice. This can be reviewed. You don't review it for some reason. You decide to review the other two. Both again, I think both were in the favor of Inter. Like, one had to be overturned to help Inter, and the other one kind of favor Juventus, where people are saying. Now you got a third one where let's not fucking go to VAR all of a sudden, and you can't review the foul. The foul can only be reviewed on a straight red. If you want to give a straight red, that's where it's reviewed. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm kind of mad, because I agree with you, Lucci. Absolutely 100%. The second yellow is bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. That I've said that in my tweet today. That is not where I'm mad about.
I agree.
I'm just mad because with 4 minutes remaining, and you don't go to VAR to even just review to see what if there was contact or not. Just go look at yourself. You already reviewed two other calls which were similar to this one, where all of a sudden VAR is like, "Oh, you don't go," and it's like. That just pisses me off. And that's the inconsistency of VAR, where let's go twice, but let's not go the third time, where it didn't look like a foul to me. And I saw the video where people are saying that he kind of clipped him in the side after in slow motion. I just don't buy it. I don't know.
Because Cuadrado initiated the contact. I mean,
yeah, like
Perisic was just there. Like it was really it's really tough for me to see like objectively how that can be called a penalty. And like on the first one, I could see like I thought the first one was a little bit of a soft call, but I mean, Jerry, we were looking at it together when we were doing the live stream. I said, okay, yeah, listen, if you're going to go by the letter of the law, you're going to check the VAR, then yeah, you can call that a penalty, like absolutely. And then I thought the same thing with the Lautaro thing. I thought that was also a really soft call on De Ligt, but it's the same sort of thing. If you go through the trouble to look at the slow-mo replay and see it, yeah, he caught the back of his foot. That's a penalty. Same thing with Darmian against Chiellini, but then with the third one, it wasn't there.
It just kept getting uglier and uglier. It was like snowballing. The Bentancur yellow, the red, and then just that Perisic one was just the worst call possible, because it's the end of the game. At that point, you the referee, are making the conscious choice to decide this game. It's that simple. And I think referees should really avoid calls at 2 points when they're like half. In the beginning, when you can change the entire direction of a game, like very early on, kind of like the Darmian one, and in the end where there's going to be no response from Inter that late in the game. It's nearly impossible. It'd be a miracle, But I think that's when it gets kind of ugly and the referees kind of ruining the flow of the play and destroying, the game.
And I also hate to hear that, Juventus played hard and they give it all, and fucking that just tells me that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Sorry, like guy has 86K fucking followers and daddy fucking does everything for you, and
Jerry wants blood. Jerry wants blood, baby.
Fucking fun.
Jerry's trying to start a podcast war. Dude, they got the t-shirt money. We can't compete with the fucking t-shirt money, bro.
Yeah, I would never buy a fucking shirt that says Calcio on it, guys. Let's just get this off the fucking on the record now. You making me spend $25 to buy a fucking Calcio shirt? I'll go buy a fucking sub, enjoy myself for the afternoon.
What if it says Calcio Connection, Jerry? What if it says Calcio Connection?
Yeah, how about that?
I don't know if I would even. I wouldn't even know if I wanted. I don't know. I wouldn't start a shirt that says Calcio Connection. It's gotta be more than just Calcio Connection, man. It's gotta be vibrant.
You know what I want? I want you holding up the middle finger. That's the shirt.
Oh, that'll sell. That'll sell. I promise you that.
You saying send them to the glue factory.
Yeah.
My boy Jorge, what's going on, buddy? Fucking Forza League on.
Actually, you know what? The t-shirts, there's two t-shirts. There's send him to the glue factory, and then there's the one with Jerry holding up the middle finger, and the shirt just says "Chooch."
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
I think we gotta bring Jorge on next week because he's got no filter, man. That guy's worse than me. Fucking.
Oh, he's great.
He'll tell IFTV where to fucking go with better comments than I have. Fuck.
So listen, I thought that's a lot of good comments on that Derby d'Italia. The last thing that I'll say on it, and then I want to move on to a few other things. What's unfortunate about the way that game was officiated, no matter what side you're on, no matter which team you thought was screwed over more than the other team, the unfortunate thing about it is, guys, I know so many people that are friends of mine, people that I work with who they like soccer, calcio football, whatever. They don't necessarily watch the Serie A, so they watch, game replays, they watch highlights. Friends of mine who are into Premier League, La Liga, and I cannot tell you how many people I know that aren't really into Serie A, but they know what happened in that match, who've been coming up to me the last couple of days, like, bro, what was up with that referee? So like, you hate when the league that we all love and enjoy, and it's a league that I don't think gets enough respect from outsiders, because there are these Prem heads and these, Barcelona and Real Madrid fanboys and stuff, and even like the Bayern people who don't respect Serie A. And if the most attention Serie A gets is from a shitty referee, then that's not good for anybody. That's not good for Calcio. That's not good for Serie A. So we need to make sure to cut down on nonsense like that. But the next thing I wanted to go around the table on, I've got in front of me the kind of complicated Champions League scenarios for how Milan.
Are we shifting away from the Inter Juve game now? Because
unless you have something else.
I got something. I gotta call out Raki first.
Jerry,
I gotta call you. I gotta call you out first for being a Ericsson hater, bro. What the?
Yeah, for that too.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
He doesn't respect Ericsson's hairline. That's the problem. Ericsson is in full recession. He doesn't respect it.
I've been told by an anonymous that I have to call you out. So I'm going to call you out because I didn't know you were an Ericsson hater. This guy saved your fucking season. He's the reason why.
Listen to me. I'm one of Ericsson's biggest haters, and I wear that proudly. Motherfucker got a weird hairline, bro, but it's not even about the hairline. All right, Ericsson comes in. Let me take you back. It's easy, 2020, it's easy to talk about what is now, but let me tell you about my vision, right? Ericsson comes in 2020, January, all right? I'm sitting here. First, I read the rumors. I'm like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? He makes no tactical sense in Inter's lineup whatsoever. This guy makes zero sense, okay? So I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, this is fake. This is stupid. All of a sudden, he's in a little navy blue suit playing some symphony in the orchestra. I'm like, oh, fuck, this guy's actually here right now. Out of all the world-class players you could bring, this guy's why this guy? Anyway, whatever. So he's here. He tactically doesn't make any sense. So the first thing I say is, like, if this man is going to come here, he has to learn to press, and he has to learn to give his all for Conte, because he's going to hold us back. When Eriksson first came here, he completely derailed our Serie A season. We tried to integrate him. We started playing with a center attacking mid. Yeah. We looked stupid and we looked ridiculous. We were trying to make our tactics around him because he was the big name signing. All right. Europa League didn't look as good. He quickly turned into a role player. Gagliardini was bullying him out of the lineup. It looked done and dusted for the man. Comes in this season, and he's ready to work this season. He comes in tactically and says, you know what, I'm not just going to be the center attacking mid. Conte realizes it too. Like, we can't keep going with the center attacking mid bullshit, the sexy football, champagne football, because it's gotten us nothing. It got us kicked out of the Champions League. It looks ugly. It's not even beautiful anymore, just ugly. Eriksson gets integrated because he learns to press. He learns to give his all for the team. So he's learned to fight harder. That being said, you know, he'll score a free kick. He'll get a crazy shot here and there. He's not the type of man he's not going to beat his man in the midfield. He's still a dead ball specialist. He's gotten better at pressing. He's not the best tactical fit to this moment. Still, he's not the best tactical fit. He's a good passer. He'll hold the ball, but when you're down, he's not going to completely change your game. I'd still prefer DePaul. I'd still prefer, you know, I'd take Pellegrini over fucking Eriksson. I don't give a fuck. But my point is, he's still not the best tactical fit. But I will respect him in that he came in here and he worked on his game and he changed his game to benefit the team. So I'm still an Eriksson hater just because I'm biased, but I'm going to respect what he did for us this season. He changed our season, you know, so that's that.
Dude, I think that's well said, Jerry, because I was the same way.
It's wrong, man. It's all wrong because you shouldn't hate. You should hate Raki too. Then what the fuck's the difference?
I'm not a Lazio fan, bro. What I tell you, Jerry? Look at this chain, bro. I'm not gonna hate Raki. That's my blood, Jerry Mancini.
Fuck, man, I would take Eriksson over. I would put fucking Eriksson as a number 9 over that fucking guy. Jesus Christ. Bro. I would put Eriksson as a fucking number 9 over Marici. That's all bad he is,
you would, Jerry. Don't even start with me. No, you would not.
Terrible, Marici. Like, his first season is probably worse than fucking Eriksson's first season. At least Eriksson provided something. There's some hope. There's something he can give in your lineup. Like, did you see anybody here watched the Parma game last week against Lazio? Go fucking watch the highlights, okay? The guy had a fucking nobody on him, had a clear shot on goal. You know what he does? He whips the ball across the box and like it's nowhere near the target. Like, he's helpless. The guy can't shoot. The guy's got cement feet, okay? I call him cement feet.
He's trying to help his teammates, you know?
No, man. He's a good delusional, man. The guy can't.
He's got a heart of gold, Jerry Mancini.
Oh, man. You know what? You know what he's perfect for? A center back. The guy is perfect to be a center back.
He's perfect. If I'm going to be honest with you, Jerry Mancini, he's perfect to serve me shisha at the shisha bar. That's what he's perfect for. But my point with Marici is you're going off the rails here with Marici, man. Like, this guy's the least of Lazio's issues right now. Your president is not helping you invest in a proper center back. You're holding your big players hostage. Congratulations, you're keeping SMS there under ball and chain. But, you know, at the end of the day, you got to improve that defense if you want to get serious. And I respect Lazio for winning the Coppa Italia, right? But you got to build mentally because you keep collapsing every single season. We're like, oh, Lazio's going to do this. Last season, Lazio's going to challenge for Scudetto. Simone Inzaghi isn't it, bro. Like, he's there, but he's not it. He's just another top 4 specialist.
He's probably out the door, right, Jerry? I think Inzaghi's gone.
I tell you right now, if Inzaghi was manager of Juventus this season, they win the Scudetto. I'm serious.
Get out of here, Jerry Mancini.
I think they win it, or they even compete. They're not as bad as what they will be this year.
Yeah. Bro, those are two very different things. Winning it or competing are two very different things.
Well, first off, Inzaghi has never been given that much depth that Juventus has. Okay, fine. They don't have a strong midfield, but they are much stronger in much other areas compared to Lazio.
You know what would happen the first day of training? Inzaghi's going to start yelling at Ronaldo, or Ronaldo's going to tell him to fuck off, and then that's it. The team's done.
Because Ronaldo makes 8 times more money than he makes.
that would never work. Never, ever work. Anyways, carry on with your rant. Go ahead.
I just think that Inzaghi would give it something different, like just tactically everything. Pirlo's a fucking walking zombie. Like, he's got no idea what the fuck.
It's Pirlo's first season, though. You know, I'm not going to lie. I actually rate Pirlo, and I still rate Pirlo because I think that, you know, it's his first season, so I'm not going to write him off. I think he can still be a great manager someday down the line. I don't think that it's time for him to take over Juventus. It was a strange move for me.
Yeah.
But I do rate him as a manager. Inzaghi, I'm just going to say this about Inzaghi. To me, like, he's very overrated. His ceiling is Spalletti level, and Spalletti, I'm not saying anything bad about Spalletti, but my point is he's a top 4. Like, he'll get you top 4 sometimes, But he's never going to win you the Serie A. He's never going to win you anything huge. He'll win you a Coppa Italia.
One-dimensional, Inzaghi.
You know what? Maybe he's one-dimensional because it's what it's given to him. He's got a starting 11 that he has to be one-dimensional because that's just the way he has everyone implementing. There's continuity. You give him a bench. You give him better players to work with. All of a sudden, he can kind of think outside the box. Look what happened when he started going to bench players against Parma, Fiorentina, and freaking Roma. It became a disaster. It just didn't work.
Squad-wise, do you think that Lazio and Milan, for example, you think Milan has much better of a squad than Lazio? Like, you think Milan's squad is that much better than Lazio's? I don't personally.
You don't think so? I
think they're a little deeper, but I think Lazio have a better 11. I think Lazio's best 11 are better.
Exactly. So that's my point. It's like if Pioli can, fight, can somehow get. I don't rate Pioli either, but I think Inzaghi, we're kind of kind of giving him excuses. The depth isn't necessarily there. I agree. I think he needs another proper center back to really solidify that starting 11. But for me, just the signs that I get from Inzaghi right now are he's not going to be anything like crazy. He's not going to be a generational manager.
I don't know, man. Before Inzaghi arrived, you got to look at this. He brought them to European competition 5 years in a row. No other manager's done that with Lazio in who knows how long. I think that's a big accomplishment. So they were really not making European competition for who knows how long. And then you got a Coppa Italia that he managed to win in a season where it really went bad and they weren't going to make Europa League at best. So he managed to salvage that. He's won 2 Super Coppa Italias. I know people say it's not it's a meaningless trophy. For a guy like Inzaghi, he'll cherish it because of the team he has. Lotito spends $10 million a season. And look what he does with a budget of 10 to 20 million. Imagine if you give a Juventus squad who spends 100 million what he can do and the players he can finally buy. And that's another thing why he hasn't signed a contract yet. He wants guarantees that he'll be able to bring players in to Lazio. He has no guarantees. You want to hear the transfer market of the last 2 years of what Tade has bought? Bag of shit. Lazio has been the only good thing that they've bought out of everyone. We spent 14 million on Dennis Vavro. There's your center back that was the best player in the Danish league. I thought he was going to do well because of what was hyped around him before he came. Didn't pan out. There's so many more. I don't even have the list on me right now, but the biggest mistake was signing Marici, and not because of the player he is. It's the money they spent on him when they should have bought a center back.
Yeah. I agree in that regard. I don't disagree with you there. I don't disagree at all there, actually.
That's the issue.
I actually completely agree in that regard because I think that the center back position, again, very, very important for Lazio, and it would change their complete lineup. But what I was going to say was my issue with Lazio, I understand that they don't have the best depth, right? But when I see certain games in Europa League, for example, or when I see certain collapses from Lazio, it looks to me like a team that doesn't have the mentality. And that's where my issue with Inzaghi starts is there's some big games that can change a season. And in those moments, his teams seem to collapse completely. No matter who's in the starting. Usually they'll be
captain too.
What's that?
It's on the captain too.
And I agree with you. I honestly, so I wrote an article last summer thinking that Immobile was the right guy to be the captain.
I remember that.
And I thought he had the mentality. I really respect people who've been with the club for a long time, who understands the values of the club. His work ethic, what he's been able to accomplish as a player. But then you also have to remember what do these people are like inside the dressing room. And as much as he's matured as a player, it's a lot of pressure on a striker, and very few strikers are captains. And if you really want to know who the captain of this team will be, and I think it's going to be Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. He's the guy. Yeah. That's the guy who has to be captain of Lazio. You give him the armband, he's not leaving because it becomes his team and you build around him. And that's why I'm still committed that he stays and Alberto's the guy who gets sold. That's the guy who's 27, 28 years old. He's in his prime. You still got a few years left on Savage before you either want to sell him or you don't want to sell him. You're not in a situation where you need money. So that's where it comes down to is I think Savage is the guy you build around, not even a Cherby. People think that a Cherby should be the captain of this team.
Cherby's 90 years old.
He's old. Yeah, he's 150 years old.
Now it's Savage's team. And the last question now is, who's to say Latito will be the owner by June 25th? People think, why is it crazy to think that maybe an oil-rich company comes in and buys Lazio, and Salernitana is his
Oh God, I
team
hope
now?
they buy Inter first. If there's a freaking oil-rich company out
Why
there,
not?
please, yes, send them in my. I will broker the deal. Send them right over to me.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference. A guy who has to buy Inter has to pay off that debt too. You know what I mean? So the value of Inter is so much higher than what it should be because there's just so much to take on. Whereas
Yeah, that's
Lazio's
true, but
very
there's
minimal
also
debt.
there's also more like immediate commercial potential because you have to like introduce a whole lot of new fans to Lazio, whereas Inter it's a more recognizable brand. I know there's a lot of debt, but friggin' oil tycoons don't care. I mean, Jerry, last time I drive down the fucking street, gas prices keep going up, not down. I think these oil tycoons are doing fine. Money. Yeah.
I'm convinced that someone's gonna buy Lazio. The more I think about it, man,
It's gonna be some other Italian business.
Jerry,
It's not gonna be oil money, I don't think.
Jerry, I feel bad because I remember when Eric Thor was Inter's president, I would sit up at night hoping the same thing. I'm like, give me some Man City treatment, give me a little bit of that PSG money. It never came, Jerry. The most we got was tuning Jerry Mancini. We got a little communist money, and that could get shut down at any minute. So I feel bad. I feel your plight, Jerry. In FIFA, I'd be like, oh, give me that a little bit of a financial takeover type thing. I hope it comes for you, but I don't know if it will.
All right, hold on. I want to move on to Champions League races because this is really tough. Like I have in front of me the very complicated scenarios, and there's 2 spots for 3 teams, right? You've got Milan, Napoli, and Juve fighting for 2 Champions League spots. Now, and I'm going to go through the full scenarios. Now, if I look like, obviously the head-to-head matchups, Milan have the toughest, but there's also scenarios for them where they don't even have to win their game to get through. So it's very complex. So for Milan, and they have Atalanta in the final match day, which is really tough. For Milan to get in, there are 4 possibilities. If they beat Atalanta, boom, they're in. If they tie and then one of Juventus or Napoli don't win, they're in. And there are actually 2 scenarios Milan can get in even if they lose, right? So if they lose and Juventus don't beat Bologna or Napoli don't beat Verona, then Milan can get in. Mm-hmm. And then you have Napoli's scenario. They beat Verona, they're in. If they tie and Juventus don't beat Bologna, they're in. If they tie and Milan lose to Atalanta, or if they lose to Verona, and this is where it gets crazy because of goal differential, if they lose to Verona, they have to lose by less than 9 goals. That seems doable. Losing by less than 9 goals, it's that they're probably going to be all right there. And Juve don't beat Bologna because Napoli have 85 goals scored. Juve have 73, so they need to, remain 1 more goal in the plus. And then here's a scenario for Juventus. If they win and either Milan or Napoli don't win, or if they tie and Napoli lose to Verona by 10 goals, there's the goal differential. So those are the 2 scenarios for Juve. And it's really tough. I mean, because again, Milan have the toughest head-to-head matchup, but they can still get in even if they don't win. Something about my gut is telling me, based on the way that, Milan performed against Cagliari, like I kind of feel like they won't get in, but at the same time, maybe they'll lose to Atalanta and still get in. But my gut is telling me it's going to be Napoli and Juventus sneaking in and Milan just being on the outside looking in. What do you think, Nick? When you think about those scenarios, who do you think the 2 teams are that take those 2 spots? Who's the odd man out?
Well, like Milan and Napoli, they control their own destiny, right? For Juve, they need to beat Bologna. They need to do that first thing, focus on that first and then hope for a result in the other 2 games. But the thing is, if Juve beats Bologna, for them to not make Champions League, both Milan and Napoli need to win. No draws, right. 2 wins, and Milan is playing Atalanta. For me, that game gives me a bit of hope as a Juve fan because Atalanta, they're not guaranteed second right now, and they definitely want to finish second. It would be I'm pretty sure it would be their best ever result in Serie A. And you get a bunch of, I believe, like 10 extra million euros with that. And you know what? They're just a team. They don't let up. You watch their games this season. They don't let up. They continue scoring. So, after Wednesday, after Wednesday, after the Coppa Italia final on Wednesday, I'm going to cheer for Atalanta come Sunday. I'm going to cheer for Verona. I don't have that much faith in Verona because Napoli's playing really well lately. They're getting the results. I personally say that Juve and Napoli go through. I'd want Juve and Milan to go through just because, Milan's been so many years without Champions League. It'd be nice to have Juve, Milan, and Inter together in the Champions League in the season. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But you never know. I mean, Milan, what happened against Cagliari? I feel like they kind of got ahead of themselves because they're probably telling themselves, "Oh, we just need a win to guarantee the Champions League spot against a Cagliari team that they have nothing left to play, bottom of the table," and they fell flat on their face. And Cagliari they've been good. They've been good, especially the second half of the season. They've had to claw their way out of the relegation zone. So I mean, they weren't a pushover team, but I think Milan just took them too lightly. So now it's they have to, like you said, not that they have to win against Atalanta, but if they don't win, it helps Juve. Even if it's a draw, if it's a draw, it's good enough for Juve as long as Juve beats Bologna. So I still have pretty good hopes for Juve's chances.
Yeah, honestly, I do as well. And it wasn't, of course, it wasn't even just the result against Inter because I still thought, Milan are going to win on Sunday. That's going to be irrelevant. But then the Cagliari thing just threw everything for a loop. What do you think, Lucci? Out of those three teams, you got Milan, Juventus, Napoli. Only two get in. Who's the odd man out?
Well, for me, after that Sunday match, I'd have to go Milan just because of their matchup and because they're missing Ibra. Çalhanoğlu looked awful. But then he played pretty well against Juve. So it all depends what kind of mentality they decide to show up with. Yeah. I know Juve obviously didn't push them back when we played a few weeks ago, and they kind of just stamped all over us. But then yesterday, they just looked like a completely different team. Like their head wasn't in it. They're like, okay, we're already in, it doesn't matter. And they blew it themselves. But what worries me, honestly, is that Juve is going to have a tough time trying to beat Bologna. We haven't seen, them being consistent all season. I don't think they've won 3 in a row all year. So this would be the first time they've done it all year. And, hopefully they can find it in them, the end of the season, to do it. But I'm not getting my hopes up just yet. I know it's going to be a little tough. And I obviously, of course, want Juve in, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And I don't see it just, it's not going to be an easy game where you walk in and, Bologna is going to lay down and let you beat them. So, yeah.
What do you think, Raki? Who gets in? Who's out?
It's funny because Juve is the only team that doesn't really have their destiny in their hands, and I still feel like, for me, they're the favorites over Napoli and Milan to get Champions League at the moment because two things. The vets on that, Pirlo hasn't had the best season, but the veterans on that team, you have CR7, you have Chiellini, the mentality there, I think those two guys push Juventus over the line for Bologna. In my opinion, I don't think that Juventus lose to Bologna. I think that's when you really see the personalities come in, the big personalities, and you even saw it against Inter. Chiellini was massive in that game and his know-it-all, and so that's huge in that regard. But as far as Milan goes, I feel like we gave them our pazza. You beat Juventus, you have an amazing game, and then to lose to Cagliari like that, it's insane. It's like you just want this blockbuster finish for yourself. So what's going to happen is you're either going to get screwed because you bit off more than you could chew, or you're going to cause a beautiful. It's going to be amazing, like when we beat Lazio to get back into the Champions League. So you're setting up for one of those moments. If Milan lose this game, they're going to get completely everything they've done this season. I think it's washed away. All their lone players going back. They're going to start from ground zero. It's going to be hideous. I don't think Pioli should keep his job whether they make top 4 or if they don't make top 4. I don't think he should. But it's just not good for Milan right now. I don't see it ending well. I think Atalanta, as you guys said, is going to fight.
And I think Ibra hurts them as well. Like that, his winning mentality, his veteran leadership hurts him. But
they're a pretty young team.
Yeah, and like Leao or Rebic are not real center forwards. Mandzukic can't play a full 90 or 70 minutes. And there's one thing that now that I think about it, it kind of just bugs me that yesterday and today I see Milan fans complaining, oh, it's Juve's fault Milan couldn't win their game on Sunday. It was the referee's fault that Juve were in their heads and this and that. I'm like, our game has whatever, because we got in your head because we won, has nothing to do with you guys going out and doing your job. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. But
well, it reminded me a lot of it was a few years ago the Derby d'Italia, the Orsato game, and then Napoli ended up choking away the Scudetto, and of course even though they had that disaster class against, I think it was against Fiorentina, of course they were still blaming Juventus and whatever. So it's tough. Jerry, I'll get to you on this, my friend. 2 Champions League spots: Milan, Juventus, Napoli. Which 2 get in? Which goes to Europa League?
Oh, Juventus is going to Europa League. Oh yeah. Did you see what Mihalovic said? Don't worry, we're gonna have a proper referee for that game. I was like, what the? When he says it, it's amazing. He's like, we're gonna have the right referee for that game. Don't you worry. He's like, I'll make sure of it. I was like, oh, this is great, man. I mean, you got coaches calling out Juventus now. That's the last thing you want. But you know what? Milan plays as the visitor, and for some reason, it benefits them. They go from like
that's true. They're better on the road.
It's like the werewolf thing where the boy freaking is normal during the day and at night the werewolf comes out, and that's fucking Milan, man. Like day and night, man. Like, and then you got Napoli who plays at home, and they're a much better team at home compared to as the visitor. So that really helps them a lot. And I understand there's no fans in attendance. I get that. But that's not my point. My point is sometimes you're just more comfortable in your surrounding. And so for some reason, these both work for both of these teams. Juventus is going to win their game. I agree with you guys. I just think that all 3 are not going to drop points on Sunday. That's just the way I see the reality of it.
What about Teo Hernandez? How's he going to play?
Fucking that's the $1 million question. That's the $1 million question. But fuck, I you know what? What scares me, Rocky, about Juve is one thing here: 36 different lineups this year. That doesn't concern you, where you're gonna go into another game with probably a different lineup again, no continuity. That's the thing that has hurt Juventus this year and has kind of restricted them from winning more games. I think that had they had a set lineup, at least for 5, 6, 7 games, you can build something.
Yeah.
And I honestly think Juve were fortunate to win without having Dybala in the lineup on Saturday, because I think that was stupid. There's another
that was
decision.
More of a tactical move, though, from Pirlo. Just based on Kulusevski's work rate compared to Dybala's backtracking, cover Brozovic kind of thing. But I thought the same thing at first, but then someone mentioned that to me, and I kind of thought about it, and it makes sense.
With Dybala, though, it's insane. It's like, what's going on with these managers that not a single one of these Juve managers is rating Dybala anymore? So to me, I'm starting to question. He's obviously talented. So then my question is, what's going on in practice? What's going on in the locker room? He's dedicated to Juventus, clearly. He doesn't want to leave. So I'm just so confused by that. I don't know if you guys have any more info about that, but that's baffling to me.
It's tough because, we've gone through a few managers now, and it just seems like no one knows where to play him, where his best position is. And like, that's a problem. When you try to be an elite player, or you classify yourself as a top player, you want, I'm going to resign, but I want 15 million. But like, how can you ask for that money when you're not a versatile player? As talented as you are, you can only play 1 or 2 positions. You need to be able to switch, to be versatile, to help the team out. Whereas, the likes of Chiesa or Kulusevski, although maybe not as skilled as Dybala, are more capable of playing in different positions where they can help the team. And, Dybala's kind of been like that for the past few years, and that's kind of held him back.
I find with Dybala, he played his best under Allegri and with Higuain. So up until 2018, I find after Ronaldo came, it was almost like it was Ronaldo or Dybala, not Ronaldo and Dybala. There were a couple of stretches, especially under Sarri, where they played well together. Pretty much pre-pandemic, I found they were the best together. I mean, with Dybala, pretty much ever since the start of the pandemic, like everything's just gone wrong for him. You know, he had COVID. It hit him pretty bad. You know, pretty bad for an athlete. Where he said, you know, he struggled to train for a couple of weeks. You know, and then he had like a stomach infection, and then he had an injury over the winter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just everything's gone wrong for him this year. So it's hard to judge. I mean, I love Dybala. I would love for him to be, you know, the next longtime Juventino. It's already 6 seasons he's with Juve. You know, I really want him to stay more. I think this season, depending what happens on Sunday, depending what happens on Wednesday, you know, if Ronaldo leaves, obviously if Ronaldo leaves, you know, they're gonna have to keep Dybala. He's gonna have to become their center point of the attack. Maybe they're gonna have to find a player like Higuain, like that, you know, out and out number 9, because Ronaldo's not that typical number 9, right? So maybe Dybala plays best with that typical number 9. We haven't seen much of Morata and Dybala this year, so we can't judge on that part. I would love to see more of that, you know, throwing it back to like 2015, 2016. But, you know, for whatever reason, we haven't. And, you know, obviously the injuries, and then, you know, Morata's not been, he had a good start to the season, struggled a bit. I'm still a fan of Morata, though. So we'll see.
Go ahead.
I just want to make a quick point about what Nick said. He was saying that Dybala and Ronaldo can't really play that well together. And it's interesting because when you go to Argentina and Dybala is playing with Messi, same exact thing. It's like one or the other. You can't play with both. So I'm wondering what the hell is like this guy's opportunity to play with two of the greatest players of all time, obviously, and he can't make it work with either one. Is it like I don't know if it's a mental thing for him. Like he's got to, I don't know. It's insane if you think about it, though, because it's not like Messi and CR7 are the same type of player either. So these are two completely different types of players. Can't play with either of them. It's strange, you know? It's really strange.
He didn't get the call up actually with Argentina. They didn't call him up.
He kicked off the team,
Yeah, so but that when it comes to decisions like that actually comes from Messi.
Oh, 100%, 1,000%.
Apparently Messi makes the call. Like that's why Icardi is not on Argentina, because
he's friends with Maxi Lopez, huh? Messi.
They are actually they're tight, and obviously it'd be hard to say right now that Icardi would deserve the call up, but a few years ago he did, and he wasn't getting it because of the Maxi Lopez thing. A couple more things I wanted to go through, guys, before we wrap it up. This kind of goes back to Milan and the Champions League race. I found this quote from Pioli to be borderline shameful. Like I feel bad for Milanisti, you know, hearing your coach saying stuff like this. So Stefano Pioli said, quote, "Not finishing in the top 4 would be a disappointment, but not a failure." I mean, listen, absolutely shameless. Okay. I understand what he's trying to do, but don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Like, I understand he's trying to either take the pressure off his players or, you know, take the pressure off himself, probably a combination of both by, you know, setting the bar low, hoping, hey, if I say that it's a failure, if we don't make top 4, then we're setting ourselves up for failure. But the thing is, like, it's one of the dumbest things you can possibly say. Like, when you look at a team that for basically half the season, maybe a little bit more than half the season, was in first place, you know, winter Scudetto, which can be kind of a curse in Serie A, but they were the winter Scudetto winners. Like if you go from that to 5th place, it's 1,000% failure. And honestly, like Milanisti deserve better than that sort of rhetoric. I mean, and obviously Pioli has been an Inter manager before, but if he was the Inter manager right now, and I was in that situation, and he tried to say that missing top 4 wouldn't be a failure, I would be absolutely incensed. And, you know, Jerry, I know that this quote got your attention as well today. What was your reaction to that when you saw that or heard that from Pioli?
I think Pioli is a fucking idiot. Honestly, he's an idiot. You degrade your team like that. Like you make them feel like less is acceptable and more doesn't need to be offered. Like it's weak mentality. It's loser mentality. Oh, guys, if we lose, we lose. Who gives a shit? That's basically what you tell your team. And I hate how people were kind of like not agreeing, basically saying that he's not wrong. they were never battling for a Scudetto. And it's like, no, it's not the point. Here's the thing. The first half of the season, they did very well, and they were in a good position to at least finish in top 4. To not finish in top 4 now is unacceptable. Like, you put yourself in a good position. That's what Lazio did last year. Similar situation, guys. Before the COVID break, they were in first place, or they were in second. They held on, they did what they had to, and they finished in 4th. Mission accomplished. Even Simone said, the goal was to make Champions League. Yes, we would have liked to win the Scudetto, but we made Champions League. Fast forward, look at the revenue they made now. I think they made like 60 million or something like that on top of everything. In the long run, even though they didn't make Champions League this season, it still set them further. Whereas Milan doesn't make it, it sets them back. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't make it after next season, that's not the point. The point is you have to look now. Now is like, even if they didn't make Champions League next year, it's not all bad, because this year they made it and they allowed themselves to start with a stepping stone. You need to build somewhere. Like, you can't keep on saying, oh, we should have made it last year, and we should have made the year before, and we should have made the year before. Like, yeah, okay, it's a step back for Lazio. And it's a similar situation with Milan. It's a perfect comparison because they're both in the same bubble 1 year after another. And Milan has to finish in the top 4 of what they've been able to put themselves in. Like, when I look, like, that's why I say, Raki, I agree with you. Now the funds are there for Lazio because they won matches to get to the round of 16. They won the additional money to get there. They finished in 6th and made 10 million on top. The money's there. Now it's up to the team to basically spend properly. Whereas Milan's not in that situation right now. If they don't make it to that top 4 spot and say, hey, we don't have the opportunity to win games in Champions League. We don't have an opportunity to earn 18 million by finishing in 4th. Like, you go into 5th, it is a disaster for Milan. It's worse than for Juventus. For Juventus, they have chips that they can sell. They can sell. They can sell players. Juventus is not in a, as much as I banter them, they're not as bad as what I make them sound out to be. They're not all doom and gloomy for them. No team wins 9 Scudettos, misses the Champions League for 1 year, and all of a sudden it's the apocalypse for Juventus. Like, the first thing
I think to add on to what you're saying is, like, Juventus, I think, can more easily justify starting a new project now, after just being a year removed from 9 straight Scudetti, whereas Milan, this entire project has been ramping up to get into Champions League, and if they don't, then it's harder to sell that reset. Like, Juventus can easily say, hey guys, we were on top for a freaking decade. Like, okay, eventually we have to start a new cycle. Milan have been starting the new cycle for like 6 years now.
Yeah, I mean, Milan looks like we looked when we were like in our darkest, time, and then Spalletti came and saved us with the 2 top 4 finishes. But every single time it was, on that last match day. So that's what they're gearing up for. Their last match day opponent is not one that I would have liked to have it's going to be ugly for them, I think. I think it's going to be very tough if they get it. But if they get it, oh my God, it's going to be insane. Next season, they're going to have so much momentum. But to have Pioli speaking like that, it really shows me that what I thought all along, that Zlatan is the real manager of that fucking team. And you saw it because that's when they started winning when you came. If I'm Zlatan, I'm finding whatever fucking motel Pioli sleeps in, and I'm kicking his ass, and I'm telling him to shut his fucking mouth until after the fucking game, because that's disgusting and it's ridiculous like that. You got to hype these guys up. You shouldn't be like, oh, it's okay. No, it's absolutely not okay. You were number 1, and you're going to at least finish top 4. Or if I'm a Milanese, I'm burning the fucking club down. Crazy.
What do you think, Lucci, about those comments?
Dan, you go ahead.
He's not wrong at all. I think that when you're halfway through the season, top of the league, and you just eventually slowly fall down and fall, drops points to Spezia to, there was probably a few other ones that I'm missing in there as well. But like you said, Raki, I just think like missing Ibra, especially for this game, coming up against Atalanta, will be huge for them. He's the motivator. He's the guy up there. He's yelling at, Çalhanoğlu or Hernandez or whoever, get your ass up here. Like, we need to do something. Without him leading the line, they just look like a different team. I know they scored what was it, 7 against Torino, but Torino's a fucking disaster, so that doesn't really count.
They should have saved some of those goals for Cagliari. I think that was the problem.
Right, yeah. They wasted them all then. They thought, let's say we're through. We scored 7. But now Atalanta, I just think, especially when Gasp thinks about, oh, man, what can I do with another 10, 12 million if we finish second place? You know, I can bring in someone else and stay and do this and do that. Like, he finds good, cheap options, and they're always competitive. So I don't think he's going to – I hope he doesn't, you know, just let Milan come to him and try to take them. So – I could easily see a draw, which I wouldn't be too upset about. Then again, you know, Juve's just got to go do their own business. It's up to them too, right?
Nick, I'll let you close on those comments from Pioli.
Yeah, you know what? For those comments, I think if he said that at the beginning of the season, everyone would have just agreed with him because you know Milan's goal at the beginning of the season was top 4. Oh, you know, if we don't finish it, okay, fine. But considering they spent 18 weeks in first place and how they've fallen and how they lost their grip on the Scudetto, it's an absolute failure. And for the coach to say that, it's embarrassing. When I saw that this morning, I almost felt bad for my Milan friends because, you know, you don't want your leader to be talking like that. It's almost as if he's preparing to make excuses or kind of preparing mentally to lose to Atalanta and possibly lose out on a Champions League spot. And, you know, we keep talking about these games on Sunday. You know, there's a Coppa Italia on Wednesday, and I think
that's right. I want you guys to say your piece on that for sure.
Yeah, I think it could have an effect on Sunday because you look at it 2 ways. If Atalanta win, maybe they'll be 2 ahead of themselves. Maybe they'll still be in a party mode and they won't come out to play on Sunday. True. But then Juve's obviously going to have to, you know, regardless, Juve's going to have to beat Bologna regardless on Sunday. But if Juve wins the Coppa Italia, Atalanta is going to come out with revenge. So from Juve perspective, you could almost help your own cause by winning on Wednesday. You get the trophy. You know, maybe a nice way to finish the cycle by getting another trophy, and then you're making Atalanta want to win more on Sunday.
I see it the other way around, though. I see it the other way. I see like
I know you do, but
Juve are gonna go beat Atalanta. They're gonna be like, screw these guys, man. We're gonna lose to Milan. You screw you guys, you know, like that's it. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know. I feel like it's not, as Jerry's mentioned many, many times over the past couple of years, Gasparini's an asshole. So I feel like he won't want to lose either game. So I guess that kind of benefits us.
Jerry's eyes lit up when you said that. Like Jerry's eyes went like,
right, Jerry?
Read my mind, man. I agree with you. Like
he wants to win, and you can't fault him for that. You know, that's how he is. And I know he comes off probably a little rough, but somehow he manages to pull together some good results. So hopefully he can. Well, maybe not 2 wins, but at least 1 on Sunday, and then we'll worry about the one Wednesday on Wednesday.
I remember when Atalanta had to play Lazio back-to-back midweekend, the weekend off. Mm-hmm. Lazio won the Serie A match, and Atalanta won the Coppa Italia match midweek, which was pretty close. And what I realized from Atalanta is that they're not the same team when they got to play on midweek game. So just look out for that. They're not normally the same team. I think that will take into effect into Sunday's game of what happens personally. Sure. I think a lot of people, I know that people say that Atalanta's deep. They're deep. We got to remember, too, they played, 3 games last week, and they're going to play another midweek game this week. I know Juventus is doing that the same as well. So it's both a factor. Like, they're playing, 5 games in, probably, 12 days or something like that. And it's crazy. So for me, it's like, who knows? But
the good thing with Atalanta is that they got 2-3 guys up top, 4 realistically that can kind of rotate in and out and be be effective. Whether you have Muriel and Pessina play against Juve, or you have Zapata and Ilicic and Malinovsky and Murinchuk and who all these guys have gotten better as the year kind of progressed. So their options are there. They're only, as we know many times, we've said it many times this year, their defense is their weak point. So if someone's going to attack them at the back 3, then that's where you're gonna make them pay.
I think people are gonna hate me, but I think I'm gonna be more pro Juve than Atalanta on Wednesday.
I know you despise.
That's a
I
shame.
can't. I would rather see Pirlo win a fucking Coppa Italia and just have him shut everybody up.
I'd rather see Atalanta win. I mean,
No,
listen,
fuck that, man.
hold on.
Fuck
Maybe for good
Gasperini,
reason,
man.
though. For good reason. And this is not
Fuck
just about being a Juve hater. That team hasn't won a trophy since
Good.
what,
Fuck 'em.
1940s or some
Fuck
shit?
'em.
Like, come on,
Fuck
man.
him. I don't give a shit. I gotta hear this fucking New York.
1963.
No. I love our boy Carlo Garganese. I love him, man. But I gotta hear this fucking top 5 club and money, and they're successful because they keep their books in and they're so good at running their club because they're top 30 in financials and they bring in all these players.
You could say the same about Lazio, though, balancing the
But
books.
we won trophies. We've won trophies.
True,
That's the difference.
True.
I hate when people say, "Well, you don't finish in top 4." Okay, fair, but we did it last year, and the circumstances are different. They have a good academy. I give them that. They have a good youth system, and that's what helps them. Lazio's youth system sucks like really bad, very bad. But again, we still managed to get results. At the end of the day, success is measured by trophies. I look at it. People don't remember success of, oh, good job, Inter. You finally made the fucking Champions League after 7 years of a shit decade. That's fucking great. No one gives a fuck what Spalletti did. Oh, he turned it around. He started it for Conte. At the end of the day, he didn't do what he had to do. Conte did what he had to do that no other fucking Inter manager could do since Jose Mourinho. He won a fucking trophy. And that's the end of that's it, man. To me, I don't give a fuck what the last 5 guys did. You don't fucking win. You're a piece of shit. Get the fuck out of my team. I don't give a fuck.
Jerry, I have to disagree with you there. I think in the long term you might be correct. I don't know if, Interisti's kids are going to remember Spalletti and what he did. But I think that Donno, for example, and anybody that saw all those painful years, I think that we all feel a debt of gratitude to Spalletti because he did what a lot of other Inter managers couldn't do, and he got that Champions League. And that's huge for us because without him, this couldn't have kickstarted. Conte wouldn't have come to Inter if it wasn't for Spalletti. We wouldn't have had the finances. We wouldn't have had the appeal. So that's why I have to disagree in that regard. But with Atalanta, I think that they're on their way to a trophy. And I think that's kind of the difference with Lazio and Atalanta right now is that Gasp really has them in this beautiful system. People thought Papu leaving would derail Atalanta. I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Their system is so perfect. Gasperini could find some teenager from Ukraine tomorrow, and he'd still you'd forget who Papu Gomez was. So I think Atalanta is really well run. So I can't take that away from them. I also hate them. I agree with you. I don't know. To me, I can't forget when they used to be like a black cat team for us. They used to cause us some issues. So I don't fuck with Atalanta at all. I hate them too, but I have to respect the way they're run, and I can't hate on that, and I have to respect Gasperini as a coach, even though he's a little bitch.
Hey, I actually want to answer a guy's question here. He said nobody brought up the idea of Napoli losing. They're not fucking losing.
Yeah, and Verona's form.
Verona already stole points from them earlier this season, so it's not going to happen again.
They might tie.
Exactly.
They might tie.
Fucking tie, man. I'll give you 2 reasons why.
They won't lose.
With Di Silvestri and fucking Palacio, you let the fucking retirement squad fucking score on you today. You can't even stop the retirement squad, and you want to fucking beat a freaking Osimhen guy who's on fire and killing people right now? Nah, man. Tell Verona, take a hike. That team looked like shit today. Fucking, can't believe Kalinic even scored a fucking goal. Never mind.
I want to get in roundtable. One more thing real quick before we wrap it up, because I can't end the episode without mentioning excellent news. And this is something, no matter what club we support, we can all agree. Mancini getting extended through 2026 to coach the Azzurri. I feel like my prayers have been answered. Finally, he's giving this team an identity. You think about what he inherited from Ventura, who was an absolute joke of all jokes, and how quickly Mancini ripped this team into shape. And listen, some young talent has gotten in there and made this team a little bit better. There's no question about that. But tactically, he's done absolute wonders. And to know that you have him locked in, for the next 5 years to take this team through hopefully a very long, successful cycle that's going to go through, Euros and 2 World Cups and 2 Euros before his contract runs out. This is a huge blessing. Nick, I see you nodding in agreement. How happy were you to see that today?
Honestly, I was pumped because I was a bit worried. There was a lot of talk if possibly Mancini was going to leave after 2022. Maybe something like that could have caused a distraction too, going to the Euros. So at least now it's 2026. He's locked in. He's got his job. He's the guy, and I feel like pretty much if you look at Italian managers over the last, let's say 15, 20 years. How many long-term managers were there besides Prandelli? And Prandelli, how long did he last? Came in 2010? Came in 2010 and he lasted till 2014?
Yeah, if even that long.
Like that.
Yeah.
4 years. So he did what? He did what? Euros? Yeah, he did what? Euros and World Cup, and he was the longest manager.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's huge. I'm so pumped, obviously, for Italy. What are we? Another 3 weeks away on Friday, I think.
Yep.
3 weeks away from the Euros. We
Coming
saw
quick.
the preliminary squad come out today.
Fuck.
At least the team that's going to play San Marino. Obviously, Jorginho and Emerson aren't on that team yet because they got the Champions League final that day. I can't believe they're going to take a Champions League final over playing a friendly against San Marino. I
How
can't
dare
believe
they?
that. Unbelievable.
You should be able to win the San Marino game like 16-0, even without those guys, though. For being honest,
Yeah, they're that's that.
I mean, there's
that's
like 100,000 people in that whole country. Like, what are they gonna do?
the definition of a warm-up match. But it's exciting. I hope us Italians. We're all excited for Italy, right? This Euros, we all legitimately predicting them. They have a chance to win. But
By the way,
it's
I
not-
actually oversold San Marino. There's only like 35,000 people. I
Holy
said 100,000. Yeah, I more than doubled it. I just Googled it to double check it.
the city where I live, in a suburb of Montreal, has more people than that. Holy shit!
Hey,
But,
when did Roberto Mancini take over? 2018.
2018, yeah.
Yeah, 2018.
So tell me, this is his first official tournament now.
Yeah,
with
major
the
tournament.
Azzurri, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys said a lot of good points here. He's got this team to play better. He ripped it apart. Continuity, different mentality. And I think the one player that benefits from all this, and I'm not just saying because I'm a Lazio fan, is Immobile.
God.
No, seriously. This is a guy who needs to play confident, Raki. When he's down, he's down. And when he's up, he's up. And a guy like Mancini is like a guy like Simone Inzaghi who gets the best out of him and motivates him. And that's one thing I'll compare is that, and I think that with Mancini, he will get the best out of Immobile now. Whereas Ventura really...
What was his excuse before?
Fucking Ventura. Guy fucking...
No, Mancini's been with the team 2-3 years now.
Yeah, that's fine, but now he's going to be playing in a actual tournament, like actual... I get there's friendlies and all that, but now it really matters. With Immobile, I honestly think when it comes push to shove, I think he's going to show up this summer. I really do.
I hope for your sake he does, because I'm going to rip you a new one if he doesn't.
He's got 7 game winners this year. Hold on. He's got 7 game winners this year. He scored 20 goals. I think of his 20 goals, he scored 4 times in the last 5 years. This was the most impressive of 20 goals he scored this year. I would say of 20 goals, only 2 came from the spot. I think like 18 or 17 or 18 came like from open play. Like he's really carried them this year in a lot of situations. And I personally, and I say this too for 2 reasons. I think with Politano being in the lineup, I'm curious to see how Politano plays on the right side with him if he gets inserted. I think that's pretty interesting to see how.
I hope he doesn't.
I'm with Raki on that one.
I'm just, guys, I'm open. You gotta be open-minded because that's how Mancini's gonna think. He's gonna be trying everything out.
But why isn't Berardi there?
Well, Berardi's not in the lineup.
Was he not?
I think he will be. He has to be because he's been their best performer.
He's there.
I did not even notice that.
He's in the squad.
That's the other player I was gonna say. That's the guy.
Berardi. If anyone's good, if anyone on that right side, if it's not going to be Chiesa, it's got to be Berardi.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Chiesa, Berardi, yeah.
I say that I agree. Berardi is the first guy with Immobile. I just think the way he plays benefits him. The way he can draw players towards him, and allows Immobile to play with open space.
But you know why Chiesa would be better for Immobile? Because Chiesa's better with pace, and he puts in lower crosses where Immobile is not that big. Come aerial duels, so that might benefit Immobile too. It goes either way.
No, you're right, but I just find that with Chiesa, he just crosses anywhere too even high. I don't know, like I just think that with Chiesa, he plays with his head down a lot, and he's like one way, whereas with Berardi, he either likes to cut in and try to attack inside the box, or he goes outside, or
that's because he's only left-footed.
I don't know. I just seen that Immobile's best game, and I know it's a small sample size, has come with Berardi. So that I take the sample size, I see where Immobile has been best, and that's where you gotta like try to build around it and see if it continues to work out well, and that's what you go with to get Immobile going.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous for Immobile. I'm not going to lie to you, because I think that there's a lot on his shoulders. I think that he is a bit of a choker, if I'm going to be honest. And I think that for the Italian national team, for some reason, he just can't hold the weight of that jersey at the moment, at least. And I'm an Italy fan, so I'm going to be rough on him too. I'm Albanian, but when it comes to
I'm an Albanian fan. I keep winning money on
there
your
you go.
team.
So me and Donno got a little bit of connection there, but so I want Immobile to do well. I actually do, because I think it'd be huge for his legacy. But if he doesn't in this Euros, it's going to be ugly for his legacy. Like in Italy, right now I think he's regarded as a bit of a system player. Like he plays his best with a two-striker system. At Torino, when he was awesome, that's what he did. At Lazio, that's what he's done. At Borussia Dortmund, at Sevilla, that's what he wasn't doing, and he was really bad. So I don't know. He's a bit of a system player at the moment for me.
I think the one advantage Immobile could have, at least for the group stage of the tournament, is that he's playing at his home stadium. He's at home. He knows the stadium. He's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be in his home dressing room. I don't know what, room Italy's going to be taking. But he knows the pitch. He knows everything about the stadium. Maybe it's a mentality thing. And if he's playing in front of his home fans in his home stadium, maybe he'll have the Lazio mentality instead of having the Italy mentality, at least for the group stage. And then, pot in a couple of goals in the group stage and then build up his confidence.
If he has the Lazio mentality, they're going to Europa League. They're not going very far.
Actually, he's called out. Honestly, his mentality is not Europa League. He's called out a lot of his players recently that they need to start having a Champions League mentality where these guys don't play hard enough. I know. Fucking Mario, fucking Chooch. fucking guy.
What did Immobile do against Bayern, for example? It's like, I know it's Bayern. I'm not saying it's easy, but Lazio got spanked. I was actually thinking Lazio could do a little bit of something.
Sure, start Patrick in the back end. That's what you fucking get, man. The guy made a Superman dive.
But Immobile disappeared in those games too. Like, my thing is, I think Immobile needs to take a little bit more ownership of the Italian team, especially. And I think that if he doesn't get off the ground running, like if he doesn't score in those first two games, I think it's kind of pressure for the rest of the target. I don't think anything's going to come out of him.
Yeah.
How many chances is he going to get for the national team and not, commit? I think Moise Kean, in my opinion, should have been the number one striker for the.
I like him, man. He's still very young. He can grow into it. He's got to mature a little bit as well, Moise can, because
I agree. Yeah.
Belotti is the second choice. If it doesn't work with Immobile,
no, I understand.
It's gonna be Belotti. Moise Kean's lucky if he fucking smells the grass. I'll tell you that much.
Listen, I want to wrap it up on that note. I want to give everybody a chance to promote what they're up to. It's a pleasure having Nick back on the show. We love bringing on Calcio guys. We really love what you guys are doing. So, Nick, let the people know where they can find you and where they can find your awesome podcast.
Usually it's Adriano. I know he's watching now. It's him advertising our social medias, but you could follow us, Calcio guys, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We do our podcast every week, put it out on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, all the streaming platforms. You have my Twitter name there, Nicholas_Calcio. You could reach out Adriano Calcio, or third guy of our podcast, Gianni Rules 27 on Twitter.
We love him. He's great.
We're fans of different teams, which makes it fun.
Well, between the three of you have 4 teams, which is the incredible part.
Yeah, yeah, and between the three of us, we each got a team in the Champions League race this weekend, so it's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun time for the Calcio guys.
That's so good. Well, what about you, Lucci? You doing any writing these days? What have you been up to?
I've decided to hold off until after the season. I don't want to.
You've been spending all your time lifting, man. You're in the gym. Yeah.
I got to do something. I can't do anything else here in Canada, so my options are limited. But yeah, I think once after the season, maybe during Euros, I'm going to start get some articles out there and talk some Italy, talk some Juve transfers. Hopefully, we'll have some money to do something, and we'll take it from there. You can follow me on Twitter, Daniele Luch over here. There it is. And,
by the way, is Canada still fucking closed, dude?
Yes.
Two nights ago, I went to a bare knuckle boxing event, and you're not allowed to leave your fucking living room. This is Florida, baby.
Yeah.
This is how we do it in Florida.
It's tough, man.
How many people are dying there, though, man?
It's getting better, man, because a lot of people are getting vaccinated, and the people who don't want to get vaccinated, whatever, they're not getting it. I've got my 2 doses. I'm good, man. I'm not worried about nothing. Huge thanks to Raki Babi as always for joining. I mean, as always, his second time on with us, but we love having him. I'm sure we're going to invite him again. Let the people know where they can find you. Anything you want to promote, man.
You already know. Ask Not Champagne Poppy, Raki Babi, Twitter.com. Right now, I got some things cooking, like I said last time. So just stay tuned to the Twitter, and you'll know. And I'm glad to be out here always. I'm a friend of the show. I'm a friend to you, Jerry Mancini. Even though you hate Mauricio, I'll always be your friend, Jerry. You know that. So I'll be back anytime you guys want me. I'm there.
I don't hate all Albanian players. I supported Vilan Beresha, even though half the
Strakosha, who do you like?
I fucking love Strakosha.
Free Strakosha, man. Come on, that's crazy. I can't believe he's being benched, bro.
I'm so disappointed. You know what? As much as I hate Marici, I will never hate Strakosha. I actually wrote an article about him, so it'll be coming out, buddy. And it's basically how he just got really disrespected this season. Like, oh my god, I don't know, man. Apparently his knees are bad, but I don't buy that until I hear an actual doctor discuss his health.
Jerry needs proof.
I need proof, man. I don't need Gazzetta dello Sport telling me we have reports tonight that Strakosha has one fucked up knee and the other one went up his ass. It's like what the fuck, man?
I would believe that report.
These Italian outlets are all fucking bullshit, man. I'm sorry. They're all fucking out to ruin their teams. Even their own fucking teams outlets are fucking bad too.
I love the Italian papers because you can see one headline that says, Inter are in so much financial ruin that, Conte and Marotta are not going to be back. They may not be able to afford to register for Serie A. And then you scroll down half a page. The next headline is Inter want to sign Rodrigo De Paul. Like, well, hold on. I thought we were bankrupt going down to Serie B, and now you're telling me we're signing Rodrigo De Paul.
The latest rumor today was Romelu Lukaku will be going to Chelsea if Conte leaves Inter.
Yeah, that's been going on a lot. So it is what it is, man. It's massive hysteria. But I'll close out the episode on that note. Huge thanks to everyone for joining us. You can follow me, by the way, at Alex Donno on Twitter. You can check out my outside of this wonderful podcast, of course. And by the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the audio feed. It's great to listen to in the car, on a jog, whatever you have going on. So go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, search Calcio Connection. If you're listening to audio, make sure you guys know you can watch us on YouTube as well. Just subscribe to our channel, Calcio Connection. You guys can also hear me daily from 3 until 6 p.m. on OnsideRadio.com. We will talk to everyone next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
Ciao, y'all.
Ciao.